Hello students, so welcome back to the channel. So in this video we are going to study about the respiration in plants and we will be focusing on the glycolysis process. Now see, once the glucose is entering into the cell, this I am drawing a cell. So once the glucose enters the cell, okay, so in the cytoplasm this glucose is broken down. So it is broken down in the cytoplasm to form two molecules of pyruvic acid. So pyruvic acid formation is occurring in the cytoplasm. Okay, and this process by which they are making the pyruvic acid, this process is known as glycolysis. So glycolysis is a step by which glucose is converted into pyruvic acid, and the place where this process is occurring is it occurring in the cytoplasm. Now, future of the pyruvic acid will depend upon the presence or absence of oxygen. So right now I'm just giving you idea. If suppose in the presence of oxygen, then this pyruvic acid will enter into mitochondria. This I'm drawing mitochondria, okay? It will enter into mitochondria, which you know very well, it is a double membranes organelle and its inner membrane is thrown into finger-like projections. These are known as cristae. So pyruvic acid will enter inside and then this pyruvic acid will change into acetyl coenzyme A. Okay, and this acetyl coenzyme A will go for one cycle that is known as TCA cycle or citric acid cycle or Krebs cycle. So this is the process for the aerobic respiration, also known as tricarboxylic acid cycle. TCA full form is tricarboxylic acid cycle, also known as citric acid cycle, because the first stable product will be a citric acid, and it is also known as Krebs cycle because it is discovered by Sir Hans Krebs. So these are the name of the cycle. Okay, so glycolysis and the TCA, in between them, this is the link reaction. This is your link reaction, which is also known as gateway reaction. It is also known as gateway reaction because this is the one which is going to link glycolysis with TCA. Up till here concept is clear. Now in this process, whether they are doing the glycolysis or in the TCA, they are liberating NADH2. NADH2 will be produced. This is the reducing substance which is now going to getting oxidized. Here also and here also NADH plus FADH both will be produced. So TCA will produce both NADH and FADH, but glycolysis and link reaction will produce NADH, which is oxidized here on the inner membrane of mitochondria. I'm drawing this circle, try to understand. And this is the step which is known as electron transport system. Electron transport system, or also known as, in the short, it is also known as ETS. So simple, if we see that the glucose is broken down aerobically, then the first step is glycolysis, second is link reaction, third will be Krebs cycle, and fourth will be TCA. Sorry, fourth will be ETS. Fourth will be electron transport system in case of aerobic respiration. Okay, in case of aerobic respiration. And in this video, we'll be focusing only on glycolysis. So our focus will be only on glycolysis. And if you see, glycolysis is actually a common step for both. It is common for both aerobic as well as anaerobic. Now let us study glycolysis in detail. Now see, glycolysis is actually a Greek term. It's a Greek term which is derived from the two words glycos means sugar and lysis means breakdown. So glycolysis is also known as Embden and Meyerhof pathway. It is also known as Embden, Meyerhof and Perennis pathway, EMP, by taking the initial name of the three scientists. E is for the Embden, M is for Meyerhof, and P is for Pernas. So glycolysis is also known as EMP pathway. Is it clear? Now, if you see, this is the common step for all organisms, whether they are doing aerobic or anaerobic. So glycolysis will be performed by all living cells, because glycolysis is this step. I'm just writing it here. So glycolysis is common step for both aerobic as well as anaerobic respiration. So it is a common step, and as a result, we will say it is performed by every living cell, whether they are living in the anaerobic condition or they are living in aerobic condition. It is a common for every living cell. Now see, in case of plants, the substrate which is used for glycolysis is glucose. So in plants, sucrose is broken down into glucose and fructose. Sucrose is broken down into glucose and fructose with the help of an enzyme that is known as invertase. With the help of an enzyme invertase, sucrose is broken down into glucose and fructose, and they both can work as a respiratory substrate. They can enter into the glycolytic pathway. But in case of the animal cells, in animal cells, it is the starch which is digested. Starch is digested to first form maltose, and then maltose is broken down to release glucose. And you know very well, enzyme is here amylase, and here your enzyme is maltase to finally form glucose. The glucose is the substrate which enters for the glycolytic pathway, this pathway which is occurring in the cytoplasm. Now see, I'll try to explain you glycolysis very easily, try to understand. This is the glucose which is of 6 carbon. ATP will be added here to form glucose 6 phosphate. Glucose 6 phosphate will be converted into fructose 6 phosphate. Now fructose 6 phosphate, again ATP will enter to form fructose 1,6 diphosphate. Okay, so up till here we have used 2 ATP, and all you know very well, glucose is 6 carbon compound. You know glucose is 6 carbon compound, and fructose will be also 6 carbon compound. So everyone is only 6 carbon compound here. Now this fructose 1,6 diphosphate will break down into two molecules. One is your 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde, 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde. Another is dihydroxyacetone phosphate, dihydroxyacetone phosphate. So this 6 carbon compound is broken down into two molecules of 3 carbon. So they both are of 3 carbon, and they can be interconverted also this way. Is it clear? Now this 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde, check carefully now, it will make NADH. It will make NADH plus H plus. Okay, it will make NADH plus H plus. After taking, please focus, this is not in the NCRT, but it's a competitive point, taking water in the form of H3PO4. This is added to form 1,3-diphosphoglyceric acid. Diphosphoglyceric acid. Please focus carefully, that was aldehyde, now it is changing into acid. Earlier it was 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde. It is changing into 1,3-diphosphoglyceric acid. after removal of NADH plus H plus and H3PO4 is taken in. Now, it is giving one ATP out. One ATP is formed and it is changing into 3 phosphoglyceric acid. This 3 phosphoglyceric acid, by the interconversion, it will change into 2 phosphoglyceric acid. Clear? Now, after liberating one water molecule, changes to phosphoenol pyruvate. Phosphoenol pyruvate. And this phosphoenol pyruvate, after liberating one ATP out, after liberating one ATP, it is changing to pyruvic acid. Now, please focus the board very carefully. Try to understand. Here, when one molecule of 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde is changing, and if suppose dihydroxyacetone phosphate, it also goes, then I think so your entire equation will be multiplied by 2. Logic is clear why entire equation is multiplied by 2? Because dihydroxyacetone phosphate will also change into 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde and will start the reaction. So everything will be 2 times. This will be going 2 times. I hope this much is clear to you. Now, if you see the board very carefully, you will find ATP is used in the upper half. So we have used 2 ATP. The 2 ATP are used. And we have produced, if you see carefully, we have produced total 4 ATP. The 4 ATP are produced. And these ATP which are produced, they are produced when substrate is changing into product. So these are your SLP. SLP. SLP means substrate level phosphorylation. Substrate level phosphorylation means this phosphorylation is occurring when the substrate is changing into product. At that level only SLP was occurring. This much is clear. Now it is also leading to the formation of two molecules of NADH, which will be used for the electron transport system. So 2 molecules of NADH plus H plus are produced. So 2 molecules of NADH plus H plus are produced. Is it clear? So this is your balance sheet for the glycolysis. What is taken and what they have liberated. And finally, you are making 2 molecules of pyruvic acid by using only 1 molecule of glucose. Is it clear? And every one is of 3 carbon only. All are of 3 carbon compound. All these steps are of containing carbon, that is only 3 carbon. Now, if you see the board very carefully, you will find that the upper half is using the energy. So this half up from here till here, okay, till here it is known as energy consuming phase. It is known as energy consuming phase. And lower half from here till here, this lower half, if you see, it is giving the energy. So this is known as energy producing phase. So this is also known as energy producing phase. Energy consuming phase is also known as activation phase. Energy consuming phase is also known as activation phase. And energy producing phase is also known as payoff phase. This is payoff phase. So I hope up till here your summary is clear to you. Okay, now let me again give you the simple form just to learn in the very short form. Now see in your exam, you just write this way short form G. G means glucose, which is taking ATP to form glucose 6 phosphate, which changes to fructose 6 phosphate, which again take ATP to form fructose 1,6 diphosphate, which breaks down into 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde aldehyde and dihydroxyacetone phosphate. Write in the short form, it will help you to learn it also, okay? Then it is giving one NADH out. Only focus now who is going out and in. NADH plus H plus to form 1,3 dipga, which after giving ATP out is changing into 3 PGA, which changing into 2 PGA, which again giving water molecule out is changing into PEP, phosphoenol pyruvate, which again giving ATP out to change into pyruvic acid. Clear, beta? This will help you to learn very short form. Speak this in your mind 10 times. G taking ATP become G6P, change to F6P, again taking ATP to form F16 dip. Break into 3-PGAL and DIHAP. PGAL giving NADH change to dipga, 1,3-dipga, giving ATP changes to 3-PGA. Then it changes to 2-PGA. Water is again out, changes to PEP. PEP is changing after ATP out into pyruvic acid. Is it clear? Another learning tips is this way. If you see total number of steps are 10. Total number of steps are 10. If you see, this is number 1 step, number 2 step, 3 step, 4, this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Clear? So if you see, very easy, you can say one step is filled, second is empty, third is filled, fourth is empty, fifth is empty, sixth filled, seventh filled, eight is empty, nine filled, 10 filled. क्लियर? हिंदी में एक भरा एक खाली एक भरा दो खाली, फिर दो भरे एक खाली फिर दो भरे, खत्म. Now let us learn the enzyme names. See here the name of the enzyme, because here the ATP is added to 6 carbon. So here the enzyme name is hexokinase. Hexo word means 6 and kinase means addition of phosphate. Is it clear? So I think so here you can immediately say enzyme should be phosphofructokinase. Clear beta? Because you are adding ATP to already fructose which is having phosphate group to make it diphosphate. Here only conversion is going on. So you will say isomerase. So it is phosphohexoisomerase. Now, whenever it is breaking, whenever you will be studying in the Calvin cycle, two things will combine to form one, we will use enzyme aldolase. So here when one is breaking into two, enzyme is aldolase. This enzyme will be used in the in the photosynthesis also. Please learn carefully. Whenever one molecule is breaking into two, enzyme is aldolase. For the fifth one, if you see, it is again isomerase. But which isomerase? They both are of 3 carbon compound and they are having phosphate also, the phosphotriose isomerase. Clear, beta? Now, if you see here in the 6th position, you are removing hydrogen. So when you are removing hydrogen, your enzyme, you can directly say it is diphosphoglyceraldehyde because you are removing from glyceraldehyde dehydrogenase. So enzyme name is dehydrogenase. Now from here, your enzyme name is transphosphorylase. This is new. This is the one which you have to learn properly. This enzyme name is phosphoglycerate transphosphorylase. Now here you remember Me. So here mutase will come and here enolase will come. These are the enzymes. Now you do one thing, just think reverse. If you think reverse, I think so we will add ATP to pyruvic acid to make PEP. Okay, so you are adding ATP to pyruvic acid. So enzyme name is pyruvic kinase. So these are the list of the enzymes. Now, next important concept, what their competitive questions will be asked. If you see, whenever the enzyme is kinase, activator for this always will be magnesium. Whenever kinase is there, activator will be always magnesium. Clear, beta? But it is in the pyruvic kinase, you don't only use magnesium, we use potassium ion also. This is again competitive point. Enolase is also using magnesium. So these are the activators, these are the mineral ions which are activator for the respective enzymes. Now, another important question based from this is this, see carefully, see this step. I'm highlighting it. Focus carefully. Whenever 3-PGL is changing to 1,3-dipga, it is removing hydrogen. So see carefully how this conversion is going on. First of all, NAD plus is there. So NAD plus, when it is removing hydrogen, then you know very well, hydrogen can be broken into protons and electrons. So hydrogen is broken into 2 electrons and 2 protons. So you know very well, one electron will go to nullify the effect and it will become NAD plus one electron is left plus 2 protons. One electron plus one proton will combine to form one hydrogen atom. So NADH, and one proton is left. That is why we write NADH plus H plus. So it means it has removed 2 hydrogen atom or not. So question is there, if suppose I ask you कि during the conversion of PgAl to PGA, during the conversion of 3-PgAl to 1,3-dipga, how does the redox equivalent are removed? How many redox equivalent are removed? Let me write the question here. During the conversion of 3-PgAl to 1,3-dipga, how many redox equivalent are removed? How many redox equivalent? If they ask such type of question, then you know very well, one redox equivalent means one hydrogen atom. One redox equivalent means one hydrogen atom, not molecule, please, atom. So if they are converting 3-PgAl to 1,3-dipga, so they are removing how many redox equivalent? Your answer will go 2 redox equivalent they are removing in the form of 2 hydrogen atom. Please go and check in your NCERT page number 229. It is very, very important line is given there in your NCERT. 2 redox equivalent are removed in the form of 2 hydrogen atom from PgAl when they are transferring to and they are transferring it to NAD plus. This is the one which is answer will be coming when they are saying only one molecule. But if suppose I ask you now question ki how many redox equivalent are removed to make 2 molecules of 1,3-dipga. So you know very well, to make one molecule of 1,3-dipga, you are removing 2 redox equivalent. So to make 2 molecules, you will be removing 4 redox equivalent. Is it clear? Understood? Let me just write it here for you. For one molecule of 1,3-dipga, two redox equivalent are removed. I'm writing in short, I hope you are able to understand. So for one molecule, two are removed. So for two molecules, obviously, four will be removed. So this is the final summary for you people. Just practice it. This cycle, if you practice it nearly 5-10 times, yeah, this chapter, this cycle will be very easy for you. Okay. Now in the next video, we'll be studying how what is the future of the pyruvic acid depends on. So I hope this topic is clear to you. Thanks for watching.